Have you ever eaten a mooncake only to find out that you also ate a piece of paper? Well, Chinese people from the 14th century sure did. This piece of paper came from inside the mooncake, but it contained a secret message that would cause a revolution and eventually lead to the end of the Mongol occupation in ancient China. So today, I will show you how to make the best pistachio snowskin mooncakes, and then we will uncover what this secret message was and dig deeper into the crazy history of this beautiful and delicious dessert, the mooncake. First, let's start by making the filling for this mooncake. This is a custard cream filling, so therefore we will start by cracking 1 whole egg and 3 egg yolks. The reason we want to use lots of egg yolks is because we want to get that rich yellow color at the end. Whisk them very well until there are no more lumps. Then combine them with 80 grams of sugar. After that, add 20 grams of vanilla sugar. Whisk it very well until the sugar is completely dissolved in the egg. Once the sugar is completely dissolved, add 160 grams of milk, 65 grams of melted butter. Whisk it again until it's well combined, and then add 40 grams of flour. Mix one last time to incorporate the flour, and then we have our dough ready. Next, add your mixture to a sauce pot, pass it through a sieve in order to remove all the lumps. Then turn the heat to a medium-low and whisk continuously. At the beginning of this process, nothing will seem to happen, but after 5 to 6 minutes, you will start to notice the mixture is thickening and some bits are sticking to your whisk. That's fine, that's what we want. From this point out, the whisking will become tiring and your arm will start to feel sore, but don't let that stop you. Continue mixing until it keeps getting thicker and thicker. Once most of the moisture is out of the custard, you can get it off the heat and place it in a separate container. Cover it with a plastic film and let it cool off in the fridge. You want to make sure to let this in the fridge for at least 2 hours, so the filling will become very firm, which will make it easier to shape them into balls later on. While we wait on our filling, we can move on to our wrapper. 35 grams of sticky rice flour. This is necessary to get that stretchy texture from the wrapper. I've also tried it with normal flour, but the dough was not stretchy enough, so it didn't work. 35 grams of normal rice flour, or probably any other flour will work as well. 25 grams of wheat starch or cornstarch, 30 grams of sugar, 135 grams of milk, 18 grams of condensed milk, 18 grams of vegetable oil, and whisk everything together until there are no more lumps. Next, we will steam our mixture until all the moisture is gone and we are left with the dough. To make this process faster, you could also use the microwave, but I think it's healthier to do it the traditional way. Into a large pot, add some water, insert a rack or anything that can elevate your bowl. Place your bowl towards one edge of the pot, then fold up a piece of paper towel and place it between the lid and the pot to create a slope. This will ensure that the condensation will not drip back into our bowl, but instead back into the bottom of the pot. Turn the heat to a high until the water is boiling, and then reduce it to a medium to let it steam for about 30 minutes. To test if our dough is ready, stick a butter knife into the center of the dough. If there is no liquid left, it's done steaming. So now that the dough is steamed, I will take half of it to mix it with the pistachio powder and make it a green dough. Next, we have to knead the dough until it becomes smooth. The dough will be super warm, so wait until you are able to touch it with your hands without burning yourself. Knead it for about 5 minutes until it becomes smooth and it's not sticking anymore. Next, we will portion everything out because the molds we use for the mooncakes are generally made for 50 or 100 gram mooncakes. So in order to make it fit, we will measure out 20 grams of dough Roll the dough between your hands to make a 20-gram ball and place them in a container. Do this for all the dough and cover them so they won't dry out and put them in the fridge. So while our filling and wrapper are chilling in the fridge, let's dig a little deeper into the crazy and intriguing history of the Chinese mooncake. So mooncakes have been around for 3,000 years actually, and back then mooncakes were actually called tashi cakes in honor of the prime minister of that time called, well, Tashi. In the Tang dynasty, round cakes were gifted to the emperor as congratulations for expanding to the north. One of the concubines of the emperor called these round cakes mooncakes because, well, they resembled the shape of the moon. Fast forward to the 13th century, the Mongols, after conquering almost half of the earth, have been trying to invade China for many times, but without success. Finally, under the rule of Kublai Khan, they succeeded in invading North China and established the Yuan dynasty with Kublai Khan as the first Mongol emperor of China. It's safe to say that Kublai's early years as an emperor were on shaky grounds. On one side, he was facing revolts by strong Chinese officials, and on the other side, his nephew Kaidu refused to submit to Kublai and threatened Kublai's western frontier. And to add fuel to the fire, Kublai introduced a hierarchy of social classes where Mongols were classified as the highest, then non-Chinese foreigners, and the Chinese people were classified as the lowest rank. Needless to say that the new Yuan ruling was not so popular amongst Chinese people, but Kublai still managed to maintain peace and order in China by maintaining its roads and canals for efficient transportation and communication. Yet, Kublai wanted more. He wanted to engrave his name in the history books as the ruler who united North and South China. But there was only one problem. He only conquered North China, and the South was still under the ruling of the Song dynasty. So Kublai sent every army he could get his hands on and invaded South China. By this time, the Song dynasty was already weakened, so it was relatively easy for the Mongols to take over the south. But while doing that, Kublai committed a great error which would haunt the Mongols much later, and that was to kill every Song family member so that there were no heirs left. The following years, Kublai was at the top of his career. He had already won every title there was, and finally things were looking good until something terrible happened. His favorite wife and his chosen heir had died unfortunately. With no one left to take his throne, he got depressed, retreated from all his duties, and eventually died in 1294. After his death, for a period of 74 years, there was a whopping 8 successors to his throne. That's an average of 9.25 years of ruling per successor. Under Kublai Khan, China still maintained an advanced, efficient transportation and communication system, which included a postal system of relay horses that traveled between stations. But later Mongol rulers did not maintain these roads and canals, and because of that, they were in poor condition and therefore were unusable. Due to this, Chinese farmers and merchants could not get their goods on the market, so once again, they lost money. Needless to say, the fast change and bad decisions of Mongol leaders led to the decline of the dynasty. Not only did they lose influence over the Khanates in Asia, they also started losing power in China. Do you know the saying, time heals all wounds? Well, the followers of the Song dynasty didn't. They have been waiting patiently for over 100 years to get revenge on the Mongols for murdering the Song family. And so, the Red Turban Rebellion was born. They amassed a nationwide following and claimed Kaifeng to be their capital. Togon Temur, the current leader of the Yuan dynasty, was not happy with this and was able to suppress the rebellion with the help of the local warlords, which led to the death of the Song Emperor Han Leonard. This event restored his power again as emperor, but showed that he had to rely on local warlords in order to do so. On the other hand, the newly born Ming dynasty was also pressuring the Yuan dynasty. The Chinese were gaining momentum with the Ming dynasty, but there was only one problem. In order to defeat the Yuan army, they would need the help of the people in order to organize a simultaneous coup. Back then, they didn't have social media, so sending a message was not so obvious, especially when the enemy is intercepting every message you send. The founder of the Ming Ming dynasty, who went by the name Yuan, had the crazy idea to insert a secret message inside mooncakes and give it to the residents. One way they did this was to simply put a piece of paper inside the filling of the mooncake, and because the Mongols did not really eat mooncakes, they would go undetected. Another way of hiding the message was actually much more sophisticated and amazing, really. They would imprint the surface of the mooncakes in such a way that when you cut 4 mooncakes into 4 pieces, resulting in a total of 16 pieces, they would become a puzzle that you would have to arrange in such a way that would eventually reveal the secret message. The message that Su Yuansang so desperately wanted the people of China to receive was, on the 15th day of the 8th lunar month, kill all the Mongols. Now that you have learned about the crazy history of this dessert, let's go ahead and prepare our mooncakes. So, after about an hour, take the custard filling out of the fridge and let's portion it. Each portion should be 30 grams. Roll them into balls and set aside for now. Wrapping the custard filling can be a bit tricky if you are doing this for the first time. The dough wants to stick to the surface it's on and also on the rolling pin, so in order to fix that, you can place it between 2 parchment papers and roll it that way. Place the custard filling in the middle of the wrapper, flip it upside down, and continue to push the wrapper down while you hold the ball with your other hand beneath it. Once you are sure that there are no more air bubbles inside, flip again and squeeze the dough between your thumb and index finger. Once at the tip, pinch to seal it. Next, we can go ahead and mold our mooncakes into a printed shape. But before we do that, we need to toast up some glutinous flour that we can use to coat our mooncakes before molding it. Insert the ball in the mold. Press firmly once or twice until the shape is established and press the mooncake out. Repeat that same process for all your mooncakes. And there we have it, beautiful and delicious snow-style mooncakes.